this here. Okay, everybody, welcome in the IOTA Discord. Welcome to our community governance meeting Thursday, July 28th. We are focusing in this meeting on the Shimmer Governance framework, which we are developing as a community together since quite some time now. I think we were really concretely working on this whole thing since 6 to 8 weeks on the document that was drafted, and we're basically um, working through open questions to make this a complete and well-working framework for governance in the Shimmer network. As always, we have a little agenda. We will start with going through a recap to from the protocol of the last meeting that we had. This was on Tuesday. I have a typo here. And then after this little recap, basically telling what we have already decided and where we stand in a moment, we can go through the remaining open questions that arise from this governance document so that we step by step can make decisions. And once decisions are finalized and everybody has kind of agreed on it, we move through this. Yeah, and this is how we've done it over the last, I don't know, I'm sure we had already 10, 12, 14, 16 meetings around this governance framework. And so step by step, we are coming closer to resolving all open questions and all open issues and coming closer to have a finalized vision of how governance in the Shimmer network should look like. Um, for those of you that have not always followed this, generally in the Shimmer governance, we are going for an approach that is based on three different phases of how a proposal will have like a life cycle. Yeah, you have in phase one. Um, phase one, everything here. Phase one and two are happening in our governance forum. And phase one is basically an open discussion about a topic that is important for the Shimmer governance. And there will be only specific topics allowed. So it's not basically, the community can't decide everything in Shimmer. Yeah? Still, there are things in the protocol like code changes that won't be possible through community governance, but other things will be open. And as if a proposal talks about such a topic, it will be allowed to be a discussion in phase one in the forum, and people can discuss it, can make suggestions. The submitter of the proposal can take these suggestions into an account and basically refine the proposal, get input from the community, and build up a real good and well designed idea and proposal. And then phase two basically is the proposal submitter has to follow a specific template that speaks to different fields, like what motivation do you have, what problem does it solve, how is it going to be implemented, what is the exact specification of it, and stuff like this. And it follows a specific template. And it basically phase two is a poll in the forum. Yeah, and in the poll in the forum, that poll will be 7 days. Every forum member that has reached a certain amount of participation in the forum is allowed to give his vote in a poll. And if this poll reaches a specific threshold of positive votes, then it is accepted as a vote in Firefly. And then the proposal will basically be implemented in Firefly, and the Shimmer token holders, can vote and can decide, because everything in the forum and also the poll in phase two is not a hard and a network-wide consensus. It's always going to be just a signaling from the community if something is generally interesting and to be accepted, but the final decision has always to be made in a Firefly vote. We have a very, very detailed working document um, that currently consists of already 29 pages that exactly defines the whole Shimmer governance framework, and it is available. The link is here. The link is also in our governance channels available, and everybody is invited to comment in this document, to ask questions, to make suggestions. So it's really a living document currently, um, and all things that are brought up as questions in these documents, we will normally put up into these governance meetings here and discuss them together as a group and come to a solution. We collect these open questions from the document in a second document, which is a spreadsheet, and you'll see it later. We will work through this spreadsheet where we have collected all the questions, define some DRIs and next steps and stuff like this. Wait, I'll do this. I go through the protocol of the last meeting. ASA, which is from the IOTA Foundation Project Management, has made this protocol. And so I'm just basically going through the steps that we have talked about in the last week. And after this, we can move on to the next open questions. Anybody questions so far? Anybody happy? I see we got some more people here in the chat already. JD is here. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, so maybe I just go through some of the things that we have discussed in the last meeting. We have discussed and talked about, because there is a functionality available in the polls in phase 2 that would be make it possible to see who voted. And I made a post in the thing, but let me see. I have it here. I can show you how this will look like. If you see it, so this is basically how a poll in the forum would look like if you have this option available that you can see who is the voter. So basically, you will have little icons under every option, and then you will see which forum member voted for which option. I just tested it there, but I think we also talked already with JD. I got also some privacy concerns there. Basically, I think it will hinder participation if people know that they can't do an anonymous vote here. And so this, I think, is something that we shouldn't do, because a lot of people will say, nah, if everybody sees what I have voted, I basically don't vote. So that's just something that I think we shouldn't do. Yeah. If anybody has a different opinion on that, please tell it. Yeah.
Hey, Philo, this is Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hi. Is is there a scenario where it makes sense to actually have people's name and where we can kind of vacillate between a public vote and private vote or something like that?
I was thinking about on one point, yes, of course, it would be interesting to know who voted and to know who voted for what. Yeah, so yes, it's an interesting information to have, especially if you have don't know you if we are suspecting groups that try to influence a poll in a certain direction, but um, also with GDPR and all things, I don't think we should even go and try to go this route of making this thing public. Basically, I think really it will kill participation, and we could even get into some troubles with privacy rights on GDPR rights or something like this. So I don't think it's a feasible option for us to do something like this.
You don't want to live a little bit dangerously?
For me personally,
But
no issues, but I think basically I would have to ask legal what their opinion on this is. and I also really think it's like, I mean, we have private voting in Firefly. We have basically everything should be kind of anonymous or pseudo-anonymous. I think in the end it will just cause people to create some alt accounts that they can use for voting without revealing their normal. I mean, you're still pseudo-anonymous, but most people are there, come in from their Discord with their Discord handle or with basically um, you see on the names of the that they use in the forum who it is. Um, in the end, it will just lead to people trying to create anonymous accounts just to take part in the vote. So I don't know if it's really something useful for us.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say too. You know, the big factor being that Firefly is anonymous. So, I think having continuity of votes is should be maintained. I
Mm.
think I could definitely see public voting for delegates. Like, let's say there's a treasury, and maybe that treasury DAO has delegates by the community. And
Yeah.
then I would probably think that might be a good potential use case to see what those delegates are voting for, because essentially those delegates should be voting for the community in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
Um, or
Yeah.
if anyone maybe that has conflict of interest or something. But I think for our aspect, just for the governance, yeah, it seems definitely, especially in the beginning as well, we want to maintain as high participation as we can
Mm.
by limiting spam. But it could be an option if spam becomes an issue or we start growing as a community, then
Yeah.
maybe we do want to try that out at that time. But definitely in the beginning, anonymous seems like a better
Mm.
choice. Mm.
Yeah, no, I just was wondering if there are scenarios that made sense. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the delegate is a very interesting one. If we
Mm-hmm.
kind of go with a republic form versus a complete democracy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And plus, nobody wants to get in trouble with the GDPR.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. That's a bummer. Okay, then next point, we talked about how to reach phase one or phase two. If there should be a threshold of how many votes should be yes, instead of just counting every vote. And I think, as far as I remember, I mean, I brought this up because there could be a situation where basically you get 100 no votes in phase two poll, and it would still need to go to Firefly, um, which kind of doesn't make sense for me, and I think also for the rest there. I think we defined that we will basically require a certain amount of supporting votes in favor of the proposal to move it forward. Yeah. So if there is somebody making up a poll or making up a discussion, and basically everybody in the forum votes against it, then I don't see a reason to put it up into Firefly. Yeah, so you should get a couple of people supporting you um, to to move it into a Firefly vote. Yeah, I think I don't know if we have defined fixed numbers yet. Currently, we might go with 50 likes or 50 votes positive in phase one and 100 yes or positive votes in phase two for the start, and see basically if we can reach this or how this processes. Yeah. And yeah, because we have this 6 month probation period, basically we can adjust this quite easily without having to ask the whole community again. If we see that we have two, three polls where we don't reach 100 positive polls in favor of a proposal, we just kind of go a bit down or something like that. Yeah. Um, Then the point was that phase three, there will be an announcement post, and I just made a little suggestion. I think I also have it here, how this should or could look like. So I think this what I was posting in the channel. So this was basically when a proposal in phase two has reached the successful 100 yes votes in the poll in the 7 days, then the proposal submitter would need to prepare the participation event if it's not yet prepared, and then basically request from the moderator or from the moderators to check everything again, check the participation event, and then the moderator would basically post this as a phase three voting announcement in the forum. Yeah, so let's say the poll stops on, I think normally the polls will stop on Monday. So it starts on Monday and it finished 7 days later on the next Monday. And then after the poll has finished, the submitter basically contacts the moderator and says, hey, my poll was successful. I reached 178 votes. Here is the participation event for the vote in Firefly to start on next Thursday. And then the moderator can basically use this template to create an announcement post in the forum that says, okay, on next Thursday, the proposal number, blah, 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 will start as a vote in Firefly. Yeah. It's just to have a, a template, a structure that can be followed by the moderators. You just basically copy paste the question and the answer texts from the participation event, basically the same text that was used in the poll. You copy here inside, and this is basically just a template that is the same text for all votes, so that we don't have it should just be very neutral and it's just an announcement. And yeah, so this is what I was proposing. If somebody wants to change things on it, it's in the Discord channel. If not, we can maybe start using this for the beginning. And as always, we can always change wordings here if we figure out that it's not really what we need. Um, Okay, next thing that we've been talking about, binary decisions. Um, Especially this is something for phase two. Yeah? If you remember in the beginning, we were kind of not sure if we would have multiple choice or several runoff polls in phase two. I think we kind of agreed that we tried to move all these let's say refining decisions or decision-making process to basically come to the end proposal. We try to keep this all in phase one, and have in phase two in a poll really a poll that has basically only two options, or one, like a yes and a no, or okay, option A, option B, or have no changes. Yeah. And if people have different options before, this should be handled in phase one, so that it's really because in the Firefly vote, I don't see any use in giving voters in Firefly 7 or 5 different options in a vote in Firefly. That's will very likely be too confusing for them, and people will say, I have no idea. So I think it makes sense to refine those things before in the forum, and present simple and easy to understand options to the voters in Firefly, which normally is the best is yes or no. Yeah. So you say, okay, here's the link, read the proposal in the forum. Do you want this? Yes or no? This would be basically the optimal vote in Firefly. Yeah. And we can only reach this if we also have only binary choices in the poll in phase two, because phase two poll should be the same thing that happens then in Firefly. Any objections on this, or should we basically start and try it like this? Okay. I always have to check sometimes if I'm still having internet. I'm so used to my internet connection breaking down, so I always have to check back in Discord if I'm still there, or if you just already moved on and talk about something different. Um, Next step we talked about was can we stop a vote if it's already in process? If a counter proposal for something that already passed the phase 3 also goes to Firefly, will we have a runoff? Um, this is something that we talked quite intensively last time, and I have just posted something in the forum that came to my mind, not in Discord, that came to my mind during the session with Bankless. And I think this might be a solution for this whole thing to say, okay, there is a vote in Firefly. There was maybe a tight decision, and then directly afterwards, the fraction that basically lost the vote brings up the same question again, and the same question again, and the same question again, and you could have like an infinite loop of frustrated losers that try to bring up the same topic again and again and again and again and again. And what I really liked in what Bankless DAO is doing, they have this system of seasons. Yeah, so they have a season that is 3 months or 3 to 4 months, and I like it for two ways. What they do is they have something similar like we have. They also have they call it the governance specification, yeah, the same thing that we have as governance framework. And every quarter, everything they want to change in this specification goes into one big governance vote by the whole community. And so basically what they do is they collect all kind of suggestions during these 3 months where they see our process has to be adjusted in a certain way because we see now, okay, we are more people or we are less people or we more or less active. We have to change a couple of parameters, and they always change this in these seasonal votes. And they do it basically similar like we have. They have a Google document that contains the whole specification, and all changes to the old structure that they want to implement, they highlight with color in this document. And you can just read through and you just look through the text passages that they want to change. Yeah, different quorum or whatever. And so basically they have this operations team. This could, for us, could be the moderators or something like that say, okay, we have our governance process. We figured out that some of the metrics don't fit anymore. We ask the community to change it. Yeah? And this would be a cool thing to do every 3 months. And the other thing would be, we've been talking about, okay, how can we limit this group of that have lost the vote to directly submit a new proposal. And basically, we could solve it with such season that we basically say, okay, if there was something voted on in a season, um, during the same season, the same topic cannot be brought up again for a vote by somebody else. Yeah, so that you always have to wait maximum 3 months, maybe it's just like 1 or 2 months until something can start again with a phase 1 discussion, basically changing an already decided thing again. Yeah. Um, I don't know if this sounds feasible, but I think this would be a good solution to avoid this potential thing of people trying to bring up their own agenda again and again and again, even if they have lost a first vote already.
Yeah, I like it. It makes a lot of sense. I think it's smart because it's kind of like that is a known tactic, right? They'll just keep doing it and doing it. So I
Yeah.
love the idea. I'm just wondering if I like the idea of being able to adjust, right? Because that's the beauty of DAOs, right? We don't want to make
Mm.
it so inflexible. You want to have the flexibility of being able to adjust. You have a vote, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's some unintended consequences. So we need to, fix things a little bit. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that keeps that focus there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wonder if there's the ability to extend that season period to the, well, let's say the losers, right? The people that lost the
Mhm.
vote, to prevent them to continually do this, because it's like it could still be weaponized, right? So uh, I I don't know if you leave it to one season or if you could extend it to like more than
We,
one season,
I,
and I don't even know if that's fair, but you
that's
know.
that's a good. I was also thinking so like okay maybe also we can do 2 seasons that would be then 6 months. Um, I think this is something we have to think about a bit and come up with a concept around that. Um, the other thing for the changes, because basically I think we have agreed to have it even more flexible, so we can change certain parameters of this framework. Let's say the required votes in phase two for a poll only by a decision in the forum without a vote. So we basically during the season we can make these small adjustments already
Uh-huh.
because it's new for us. This is maybe for the first 6 months or something like this. But then after 3 months, you basically ask the community, hey, we have done this change and this change and this change and this change already. This is not how the specification was written. Um, Please approve what we have done and change the specification document because basically it's a document hosted in the wiki, it's a document hosted in GitHub. Um, as soon as we start to change things on the run, we would also need to adjust the written text in the GitHub because otherwise people say, okay, guys, look, you are doing this, but here in the wiki it's written like that, so something is wrong. So after
Well,
this,
I
yeah.
with regards to that,
Mhm.
I like the idea, except for I think you want to maintain the auditability, like, and that's kind of the beauty of being open and right. So in a way, you going back and changing it. I think maybe you just change the verbiage and say this has been superseded. Has been agreed upon and superseded. The new text is here. Here's
Yeah.
the old text, and here's the new text. I don't know that we ever want to remove the old text because it shows we want to have that history, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you have it in GitHub, you basically then I mean, this is definitely something that is hosted in GitHub then, and you will
Yeah.
basically you would
Well, that's
make a
true. Yeah.
pull request. You could even
It's
have
it's.
branches, yeah. You could have like
I mean, you're going
yeah,
to have versioning, aren't you? So
yes.
when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
it occurs, the change hierarchy log keeps all those changes. Anyone could go back to an older version and see that text.
No, that's
But
true.
we
That's
also
true. Yeah,
don't
you're
want
right.
it too complicated in the text itself. We want it kind of nice and
No,
clean.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I get it. Yeah,
and
I should have thought of that. Yeah.
I
but
I would also
and
suggest something where we like if it doesn't succeed once, they have to wait another season. If it doesn't succeed twice, they have to wait 2 seasons, so that we can't have it every
Hmm,
season become
cool.
Right.
a.
It's just an abusive process. How about I don't know if this makes sense, but do you raise the threshold on the on voting as far as or on like do you change the percentage of how many people need to vote to allow it to be voted on a second time? So to also change that. So if we from our polling perspective, if the people keep bringing it up, do we raise the bar? I don't know if that makes sense, but
That's also interesting. Yeah.
right, make it a harder like instead of being like 51%, you change it to 2/3 or something like that. I don't know.
I know we talked about like a 2 week or 4 week wait time if something gets voted on before it could get resubmitted, like a cool down period. And this
Mhm.
is kind of
We lost you, JD.
more of just, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
But this was more, I think, related not necessarily changing the governance framework itself, but more just like a proposal in Shimmer. But it made me think about you have to be careful with that because, for example, it's going to become a judgment call then at that point, right? Because someone may change a few words. Basically, we know it's the same thing, but technically it's different. And then
Mhm.
where's that line?
Yeah.
I like the seasons idea, and especially if somehow we can verbalize hey, this is specific to the governance framework, so that we can basically adapt as time goes on. And of course, nothing's going to be set in stone forever. Um, but yeah, I think if we and then I think somehow we have to just verbalize that, you know,
Mhm.
how do we handle that gray area stuff where someone changes a few words, it's basically the same thing, and resubmits. But did Bankless have issues with that, where people sort of
No,
spamming and
no, no. That's the thing. I ask. They say basically everybody I ask said, "Don't worry too much. You won't."
yeah,
But on the
again, I
other
think
hand, I think our community might be a little bit different. We're a little bit. I mean, they are all young. Yeah, there's like 1 2 year old projects. There has no bad blood happened and nothing like this.
sure.
We might see some different things happening with our thing than with, yeah. So we can't
Yeah,
always
if you
rely
can
on it. Yeah,
anticipate it, I think I think we should expect to see it. We have
yeah.
from the perspective, yeah. If you can try to
I mean,
find a way to engineer that out, it would probably be a good idea, if it's not too onerous, right? So
yeah. I mean,
I
I
would
also
also
think
say that
like
to
just
be part of the bankless community is more like you actually have to, let's say, spend more than in the IOTA, right? So I think that is another aspect within it that we have to kind of address is that like IOTA is going to be have a very low barrier of entry, which is great for us as a community, but it also means it's a low barrier of entry for bad actors.
Yeah, and
um
I think they are also more aligned. They're of course also a much smaller community. So basically for them they don't have such issues. They're all on the move. They're all hyped. Of course they have disputes and different opinions, but there is no bad blood and stuff like this, like we might have it in our thing already. Yeah. So
well, they just don't have the history we do.
yeah.
That's all.
well, and I think we also have to remember, like, that's really what the phase 1 phase 2 is. It's a spam blocker. But I really do like the idea of the seasons. Would that then contradict? I know we talked about basically the admins and the moderators having the freedom to, like, within, what was it, the first 6 months or
Mhm.
12 months to really make changes based on the phase 2 proposal. Um, but that's more, I don't know, at least I took it, I could be wrong, but that's the moderators and admins putting in those votes. And then maybe community submissions can go on the seasonal aspect.
Yeah. I would keep this ability for the moderators in the first 6 or even in the first 12
Uh-huh.
months. The only thing that I think then every 3 months, all the changes that have been made should then be accepted by the community. Yeah, so every three
Yeah.
months you basically fix the current state of how it is and how
Mhm.
it has been adjusted by the moderators. So otherwise,
Yeah.
because then you would have like 8 or 9 or 10 months
Confirmation.
free running, and in the end we will end up with
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is
The
changed,
moderators
and
could, yeah,
we have
yeah.
never asked the community if they are okay with all these changes. So it's
Right.
just like,
So you let the
yeah,
moderators make you let the moderators make fine tuning adjustments along the way.
yeah,
But after every 3 months, it's like, hey, here's what we've done this last quarter, let's say.
yeah,
But do you guys all do you guys all agree with it, right?
yeah,
And do you guys confirm these findings? And if
yeah.
so, then we can move on to the next.
That's the
We'll kind
thing.
of write this into law and then move
Yeah.
forward, right? I
Just
like
to
that
get
idea.
some
Yeah,
consent in the community that,
yeah.
okay, we are happy with what you're doing, moderators. Cool that you adjusted it on the way. Go on with it. We accept basically your suggestions, and cool. Yeah, keep doing
I really
it.
like
Yeah.
that idea. But however, what happens? So what if in the U.S. we call it line item veto, right, or to discuss, right? But what
Mhm.
happens if the community says, hey, we don't like one part of this. What do we do there? We just, you know,
I think
Uh,
we would have to discuss and either find a second option that the community likes or just revert back.
yeah.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah. If
yeah.
there's
I
a
just
if
didn't know if
there's
we
a
had to put anything into
yeah.
writing or something,
If
just
there's a vote,
discuss.
if there would be a vote that is not accepting the changes, then you have to go back to the version before and try to figure out a different way to adjust parameters that fit the wishes of the
Hmm.
community. Yeah.
Hmm. And, I mean, hopefully, I think we would see that
Yeah.
discontent
Yeah.
earlier. and of course can then be adjusted. But
Yeah,
I do like the confirmation aspect. I mean,
yeah.
love to even see that in like
Yeah,
treasury DAOs.
I was just
I
thinking
agree.
about this thing to have it. Otherwise, we are really kind of giving this like option of free running for
Right.
6, 8, 10 months.
No,
Um,
yeah, it's like the puppets, pulling the strings for a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
that.
and
Yeah,
having this confirmation basically is also a great way of keeping the people in the loop. They have the feeling that their opinion matters and is important for the process. So basically, you're really going to your community and asking, "Hey, are you happy with what we are doing? Do you confirm that that is okay what is happening in the governance process? If not, please, because this is going to be a phase one, is a phase two. There will be basically, I would say, if we have 3 month season, 1 month before the end, there should be already the process starting to say, okay, this is what we have changed. This is phase one, community, hello. So that in the end of season three, if in the end of the season you have the vote finalized and you can go into the next season with a confirmation by the community. So basically, 1 month before the season finish, you already have to bring up your proposal of, okay, this is how the specification looks like now, blah, 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 discuss it, have a poll and have a vote, bang. Yeah.
yeah,
I think this is also
that's good.
how Bankless is doing this. I have looked into this, and they make this normally. They post this 1 month before in the forum. They have the Google Doc where everybody can read through. Also, everybody can comment in the Google Doc, ask questions and things like this, and give feedback. And so then basically they make a poll, and then they make a vote, and then they have a finalized specification ready for the next season with the current changes.
That's good.
No? Okay, then I will try to put this into writing somehow into the document. I've not yet figured out exactly how, but I'll put it up in the doc, and then we can fine tune the wording around that. I think that will make sense. Yeah. Okay. This is basically the same point here. How do we handle large majority who doesn't want to accept the outcome? So if we put this into the season, then we just have to think about maybe, yeah, make your suggestions in the channel. If we say, okay, you can try it one. I basically like the idea of Andy. You can try it one time in the next season. If this get blocked, you have to wait 2 seasons to come up with the same topic. But then we have to find a good wording how to define a topic. Yeah. Otherwise, like JD said, you can try to change a couple of words, still the same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is a bit of a. We'll see how this
How
evolves.
about use the word intent? You
Yeah, the
know,
same intent is a good word. Yeah.
right? Because if they're just trying to like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, sometimes the intent is the concept,
Yeah.
yeah, intent's probably
Yeah. Intent, I
important.
think,
We
fits
use that in the
fits good.
networking world a lot with security. It's like, okay, you've been granted access, but okay, what's your intent, right?
Yeah.
What are your roles and do you have that type of authority or intent? I think that probably helps.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can. What we can also do is the role of the moderators can identify it, right? That this is something that has previously been submitted, right? Like therefore, it gives us, let's say, more action to do.
Mhm. Yeah. Basically, you can. Of course, if something like this would come up, I would always think that the moderators and also other community members will clearly speak up in the discussion and say, "Hey, sorry, guys or girls, you just brought up the same similar, basically the same thing a month ago in the thing, and now you come up with just a little bit of a changed word." So I normally think things like this will not really make it through the process if the community is a little bit aware and checking in what's going on there. Yeah, and if let's say important community members, moderators, give their opinion and say, hey, you coming up with the same bullshit again. You have lost already the last vote and now you try it again. Just like then basically they will not have a big chance to bring this up into a vote
But
again.
what
Yeah.
happened? One question. What happened if it's the same topic but different person, the one that brought it up? Like, will go by the same or?
I
Yeah,
would,
that's also what we're trying to
yeah,
solve, I think, right? It's the change. If the intent hasn't changed, right? If it doesn't matter, because obviously that would be a tactic that would be used, right? It's like,
yeah,
okay, we'll have other people propose the idea, right? But it's exactly the same issue, right?
yeah.
So I think if the intent doesn't change,
Yes. It
if the
shouldn't.
goal,
It,
it should not be able to go to a vote.
yeah. It shouldn't belong to the persons. It's just about the topic that matters. Doesn't matter who proposes it again. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it should be written in like the moderator and admin kind of responsibility document that, essentially they're a representative of the community. So in sort of these gray areas of, someone disputing the intent, I mean, really, we can and we should bring that somehow to the community. We could even do a vote in phase one and say, hey, this person believes that they have a different intent from the previous proposal.
Mm.
It appears the similar. Let's bring it to the community to vote. And if they truly do want to vote it from phase one on and phase two, then I mean that's really what the framework's for,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
um,
agree with that. Yeah, because
so
it might
yeah.
just be like because that's when you have things are subjective, right? Okay, you say it is possible that a changing of a couple words can change the entire meaning of something, right? So uh, it can change the intent. But maybe the people that were against it before don't agree. But having a poll on it, I like what you just said, JD. That makes sense.
Yeah. So now we could just verbalize that. That would be
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
we have to put this into proper wording, proper text. Yeah, let me try to figure some wording out on that, and then we can put it in a
So
doc, and everybody can comment and make suggestions. I think we can easily come up with a quite good text on this. Yeah.
and just to clarify, the seasons, is that for all proposals or proposals to change the actual governance framework document?
I mean, the seasons itself, they don't have real effect on normal proposals. The only effect they would have is that you can't submit the same topic from a proposal again. And then the rest is only really about for the framework specification. Yeah. So that
Got it.
this specification get kind of submitted to the community every 3 months, and the community agrees on. I mean, if there haven't been any changes, you basically also don't need to bring it up to a vote. But if there are any changes, or if the moderator teams or basically somebody proposes a change to the framework, this then will happen every 3 months for the next season specification.
Okay, and just to play devil's advocate, and I believe our community can. I have faith that our community can kind of sort of manage ourselves on seeing double proposals. But in that sense, if someone puts in a proposal and it doesn't pass, and that doesn't pass time finish in Firefly on a Friday or whatever, let's say a Sunday, and then the next Monday, the following day is a new season, technically that person can resubmit into that season.
Yeah.
Now, if that fails, then they got to wait the next 3 months or whatever we deem the interval is for the next season. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great.
Mm.
I think there will be those times that someone could resubmit a day later, but then I think the community can police themselves.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This
But
is.
also that your whole idea that you just talked about having the community vote on whether or not that should be able to go to a vote, right, is
Yeah.
going to help with that too.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really good to hear how Bankless is doing this. I
yeah,
think it's they have some clever ideas there, and I directly thought when I heard it because I remember I did read up on this already when I was looking into, but I forgot it already. And it was really cool how Chuck explained it, how they do this. And I looked it up again, and it really makes sense how they do this also with the document changes there. Yeah. Nickel and dime, I'm just going to mute you shortly because we have some background noise here. Okay. Um, where we are. So, then we talked about how is a vote conducted during the cooldown period. Yeah, so this is the emergency proposal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I think we came up with the idea because we weren't sure if how, because the first idea was, okay, everybody can submit an emergency proposal, but then we will have to, somebody needs to make a decision if this emergency proposal is even a valid thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week we came up, or I think on Tuesday we came up with the idea, okay, because there is not a long time frame, but we could put up a quick poll in the forum. So we basically, emergency proposal would start in phase 2 with a poll for 48 hours, explaining, okay, this is the issue, that's wrong with the proposal that is currently in the vote. This is the security risk, this is the legal risk, this is so really clearly specified what is wrong, and then basically require the people in the forum to come in and decide if this emergency proposal should be put up into Firefly, or if they say no, sorry, this is just an attempt of 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 canceling a valid vote for no reason. Um, yeah, I think this is definitely a better approach than just accepting every emergency proposal that is brought up during this cooldown period automatically to come to Firefly. Um, yeah, I think that's
Yeah, it
basically
makes
a
sense
good,
because you'll be
yeah.
spammed. You could be it's a
Yeah,
literally a
yeah. You
spam
basically,
protection.
you still can spam the forum, but
Yeah,
you can avoid spamming the voters. Like we always have to
yeah,
see our normal community members. They don't want to have a vote every week on everything, and then they just voted on something, and then 2 days later to have to vote again if this vote was not correct. This is something people will just lose interest in this whole
yeah. They'll
governance
abuse
process.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be abused, and they make
yeah,
everything an emergency,
yeah,
and then everybody will. Once everybody sees
yeah.
that happens, nobody will vote.
Yeah, and
So
I think our community that basically participates in the forum, in the discussions there, they normally they will be able to kind of make a a educated decision on this and say, yeah, that's really an issue. Okay, we have to pass this through. There was a mistake. There was something wrong in the text. There was whatever reason. There is a security risk if we implement it like that. We haven't seen it before. We have to put this up for a vote in for the voters, and then basically we will also then have the time to really make this public through social media and all stuff that people really get aware of. There is a serious issue that has to be worked on. Um, yeah, this I think we will have to go through a couple of tests on that, or I mean, I don't even know if we will ever need it. Yeah, but
yeah,
having
it's just a
this,
difficult scenario, right?
yeah,
So nothing is going to be perfect. I don't think.
yeah, that's the thing.
I think if we can articulate kind of what really is allowed in an emergency proposal, like a
Mm,
security risk protocol, a legality risk,
yeah,
and
Or draining of
differentiate.
the treasury, or something of that nature.
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
It's something. Serious consequences. Hey, but if we can avoid differentiating that to be like just an opposing proposal, which of course should be brought up in phase 1 and phase 2.
yeah.
Um, and then if I like having that emergency proposal section. And
Mm.
then I'm wondering, what if we set 200 votes to pass that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. This
Is
definitely,
200?
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. This definitely needs to. It should really have a really. It needs. in my idea, this is something that needs to be a really strong move in the community. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
we might have a couple of votes and everything goes, and we hang around in this 10% participation thing, and then something comes up and the people just vote on it, and but then somebody really serious gets uncovered, and then really kind of it, our community, we are normally quite quick. Twitter everywhere, bang, people will start to rant about it. Everybody will be aware of it, and then we say, okay, people, go to the forum, vote for this emergency proposal because there is really something wrong with this whole thing. And yeah, then you will really see that there's a big move in the community that wants to stop this. Yeah. um
Yeah, such a difficult thing to navigate, though, right?
yeah.
Let's say,
Yeah.
especially finance, like if there's something is happening that time is of the essence, right? And
Mm,
even 24 hours, even at 4 hours is too much. And then you make a higher threshold of voter requirement to make a change.
mm,
I mean, I understand it theoretically that that's the way you would want it, but also, I mean, all of a sudden
yeah.
you start watching your treasury being drained by the minute, right? And all of a sudden you're kind of going, well, doggone it, our processes were right, but the time
Yeah.
frames that we
Yeah.
put in place,
You
the money is
can't,
gone.
yeah, you can't have this stuff for things that are related to code. Yeah. I mean, in the end,
Yeah,
I also think basically that the things that we will be able to decide in Shimmer in the first year or whatever will not be of any urgent. Yeah. So we will
yeah, okay.
basically not make any decisions that will have a direct negative effect on something. Yeah, most of the things that will be decided then will be have to brought to the IF, and then there will have to be some
Hmm.
devs ready and things and this and that. So we are not doing code changes with this whole thing,
Right.
and so we don't have this risk of basically uh, some code gets implemented that makes the smart contracts unsecure, and then an attacker can drain the
Hmm.
treasury. We basically don't have this risk here. So
That's
we
true.
might we because in the end, in protocols that have this, um, even such an emergency thing doesn't work. In the end, what they have a kill switch. Yeah. So
Yeah, they
basically,
have to. That's what I would
they
think. Yeah.
basically have a couple of devs in the core team that can actually they have then to act very fast and basically stop the smart contracts. Um,
Hmm.
Otherwise, the treasury will get drained, and protocols that don't have this kill switch, they get drained. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
but this
Sounds
is
like a
maybe
coordinator.
sounds they have it. People
I know. I know. I know.
look
I
into
know.
all this, look into all this
I
cool
know it. It's so funny.
decentralized protocols. A
Hmm.
lot of them are
But
far less decentralized than we think. Yeah.
I feel like I call it the all stop, and
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
generally that's from, like you said, a delegated group of X. Like if it's code base, then it's a delegated group of
Yeah.
developers by the community.
Yeah.
If it's treasury base, is a big one, or smart contract base that deals with the treasury, then it's a delegate group of managers that have the experience to be able to that are watching all the time, and then
Mhm.
can click that all stop, and then it goes to the community. Hey, this is what we assess. This is a problem. Here's a solution. Um, does the community want to implement this? And then there's more time to get that higher majority.
Yeah.
Um, I totally agree. It should be, you know, in what time frame do we want the community to vote that in, and then have sufficient majority to deter game
Yeah.
and spamming, but not deter that it can't be done in 48 hours. And I was going to
Yes.
say, with Captain's proposal, how many votes we get? Like 800 and something, or was it over 1,000?
Where in the forum?
Yeah,
Not so much, I think. 300
really,
something, I think. Yeah, yeah.
300.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so
We had a lot of
that's
we had a lot of viewers. I think we have 5 or 6,000 viewers that did read it, but only
mhm,
300 voters.
interesting. So that definitely that then maybe that 200 margin is too high, but it would definitely be good to do a test simply like
Hmm.
hey guys, we're testing this emergency proposal out. We got 48 hours.
Yeah,
Can you please go vote, yes or no? And we'll
yeah.
all spam it out and then kind of can start
See,
basing quantitative measures
see
around that.
basically how much people you can really reach. What I
Yeah.
also like what I like your suggestion basically. Um, I mean, we have said, okay, there's this cool down phase in, let's say, 7 days. Yeah? So a vote has happened, and if during the vote and also 7 days after the vote, nobody is coming up with an emergency hello, something is wrong, basically then the vote has passed. But what we could do,
Right.
if somebody comes up during these 7 days, um, and we have decided or we have seen in the forum, oh yes, something is wrong. We had this poll and the people say, yeah. Basically, then you delay um, the general execution of the proposal until the emergency vote has happened, and you don't need to rush it so much because then you can
Uh-huh.
really say, okay, we have there's something wrong. Stop. Yeah.
Right.
We
Right.
have a legit move in the community that says that's not okay. There is an issue with it. Stop the execution of the other one, and
Uh-huh.
then people come together, make a proper vote of 7 days and then you just postpone the whole thing 14 days to give enough time for everybody to come together and really vote on it without
Uh-huh.
the rush. Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
if there is no move, okay, then 7 days after the thing the decision is finalized. But if there is somebody really coming up and we say, or the community says, yes, there is an issue, we need an emergency move, then the other thing stays on hold. Like you said, it's like a full stop until the vote is the emergency vote is resolved in a proper time frame without having only 3 days time for voting or something like this. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Okay, cool. Um, I'll put this up in the doc, and then we can review it and adjust it, and with some comments. Yeah. And then I think you had the meeting about the implementation steps for the thing. And let me see. Um, I think you thought about, okay, writing a blog post, and then this blog post would be issued by the foundation. I just had my concerns because I know how complicated our blog publishing procedure is. And so I basically know that the foundation won't just publish a post, even how it doesn't matter how good it is written by the community, without we basically normally go to 3 or 4 different internal review steps from different people. And because the whatever the IF publishes under their blog is basically always kind of the opinion of the foundation. I haven't asked, but I don't think we will just uh, publish a post from the community under our
No, no,
banner thing. Yeah,
I,
but
I totally understand. I completely see because it's such a structured thing. But I do think that whatever solution, as the community is getting so much more intertwined with the IF, that even if it's a community blog post or medium post and then gets referenced in the IF post or something,
absolutely,
uh,
absolutely. Yeah,
something like that. So
yeah.
totally get that. I think we have to start looking at how the community can communicate back to the community
Yeah.
with the IF
I basic
together as a
yeah. I
yeah.
basically think we should basically also establish something like an own social media account for this or something like that
Hmm.
that where you have
Absolutely.
all the updates have an own Twitter account, IOTA governance or
Yeah.
something like this that the
Yeah.
moderators
Yeah.
will basically use this, and then if this after a couple of months this thing is growing, then it's a good outreach. Um, but
Hmm.
for my thinking, basically, let's say we are finished with this whole review process that we're going through now in the meetings. My thoughts were basically how to implement this thing is we have to get the final feedback from engineering and the board. Yeah,
Hmm.
so oops, that's that's a thing. But I'm already on this. Yeah, I have just posted. I mean, half of the IF is in holiday in the moment, so this will take some time. But I've putting this up already, especially to clarify a bit more about the topics that are open for governance because I want to have this more specific that we
Yes.
leave no room for interpretations there. And the rest of the thing, basically the board is happy with all whatever the community or we here in the group decide on how the process exactly in detail should look like. The board will not interfere in all these things. Basically for us it's just okay, the community has figured out a way how they want to make decisions. We define the the areas where decisions are possible. And that's it. Yeah. So don't worry. That's not gonna be a complicated thing to get approval from Dom and Navin on this. And then basically, I thought we really follow the process that we propose and make basically publish this whole framework in the forum, either as a phase one post or as directly as a phase two poll. Yeah. Phase one, of course, would leave a lot of room and time for discussions again. I don't know if we say, okay, we are currently in phase one, we are currently discussing it already here in Discord with this group. Whatever we come up with and say, this is how we want to do it, let's put it in a phase two poll in the forum. And if the poll is basically in favor of the whole thing, then we do a vote by all Shimmer holders. Basically, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks after the network has launched, um, and then the whole thing is basically ratified by the Shimmer community and put in place as the working governance framework. And yeah, once this vote
I,
has passed, basically we will implement all the changes in the forum. We will make the publication, the blog post by the IOTA Foundation. We will put it in GitHub and we'll put it in Wiki, and basically do all the rest that we prepared, like videos and guides and things like this.
I really like the idea of communicating that what we're doing now is essentially the phase one, since we don't technically have it active, to avoid rehashing everything we've just spent,
Yeah,
a
that's
few
what I
months
thought.
going
Yeah,
over.
yeah. I mean, basically,
I think
we're
that's good.
really, I'm really, I think I have published this in all community discords, telegram groups, basically that I know. Now we also have today the meeting with the Spanish community where Mariana and Asa basically going to introduce and explain this whole thing to the very large Spanish community so they can also then give their input to this whole thing. So basically, from my understanding, we are currently already in phase one, even if we are not doing it in the forum currently and here in our Discord. But otherwise, doing it in phase one and having another 2 months of discussions in the forum may not be what we really want.
Great,
Mm.
excellent.
Okay, then basically this we just kind of finished the protocol from, but I mean it's good to do it like this because like this after a couple of days rethinking things, you see we are still steadily refining things. Um,
Hmm.
what else? Did I have something here? Let me check this and then check that and then check. Um, this may be one thing. I don't know. Did we talk about this in the last meeting? That it might be a good idea to have the identifier number already in phase one instead of
I,
start.
I thought you said that that would really be phase two, because basically phase one is just even seeing if it should go to phase two. And then
Hmm.
that seemed probably cleaner, because someone can change it from phase one to phase two, right? I mean, really, well, yeah, well, I mean, technically they could change it from phase one, phase, but once it's in phase two, that's it. That wording cannot change
Yeah,
any bit. So, maybe it's just worth, or else it might just get too
that's
overloaded with
a
stuff,
bit the thing. I was just thinking about this whole thing about this the versioning thing. Yeah, so um, maybe we could, yeah, or maybe we should let's do
And
like this.
and
When we, yeah,
let's not forget anything in phase one goes to archive.
yeah,
So it's not like it gets deleted in any
yeah.
ways. It's always can be accessed.
Sh
Um,
should we
you know,
should we require, but let's say it like this, um, should we require that somebody, if there are edits or bigger changes in phase one in the thing, that people kind of mark it or write, okay, that's version one, that's version two, without having the number, but on their own, or basically say, make people aware, okay, I have edited this and I have edited this section, maybe repost it again. Um,
it's a
otherwise,
good
yeah,
point. In discourse, if someone puts a phase one post topic
yeah.
and people start going back and forth about it,
Mhm.
can the person that put that topic then, and even if they started voting, can they then go in and change that?
Um, Discourse has a general functionality where you can define the time how long somebody can change a post or edit a
Mm-hmm.
post. Um, Basically, the thing is, if we want to avoid any changes in phase two, we need to put this time basically down to maybe 5 minutes or something like this. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this also means that in phase one, you will not be able to edit your post after 5 minutes. So basically, you will always be required to make a new post or to make a new sub post under your original post if you want to change some things. Or we
I
say
mean,
we keep this time open and we rely on the moderators to basically check in phase two that nobody is doing any edits anymore. I mean, you see if people have edited anything, and if somebody attempts to edit something in phase two, um, I think we even can put things in place that even if people want to edit something, it needs to go to approval by moderator in phase two. Yeah, so basically, I
I
think
mean,
we can keep it open for editing, um, but then it might be confusing if you make 7 or 8 edits over a couple of weeks. Um, yeah, don't know.
I would say block it just because we're using quantifying measures to pass
Mm.
50, 100. And, I think kind of similar, people get upset if they do a vote, even in phase one, I think, even if they do a vote um, or click a like and
Mm.
someone changes that, they're like, wait a second, I click that because of again, your intent. And if
Yeah.
someone changes the intent, I like that word intent. If someone changes the intent, then maybe they wouldn't have voted. Now, either that proposer can certainly, if they say, you know what, actually I want to change thing, or through the discussions
Mhm.
um, it looks like the community wants to tweak it a little bit, then yeah, then they simply archive that and
Yeah.
repost it,
Yeah, repost it.
and
Yeah, repost it. Kind of say, okay, this is version two of my original idea.
Mhm,
Here is the link to the discussions we had so far. I have refined it now because there was some great input from the community. This is actually now how I would like to have it. Let's discuss it
mhm,
again, and then if
mhm,
everybody is agrees with it, I'll post it as I move it to phase two, something like this. Yeah, but then
mhm,
we don't need to give this number. Then basically
mhm.
we rely on the submitter that they basically say, okay, um, that's my edited idea um, as a new post. Then yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
cool, cool. I like it. Yeah. Um,
Sorry, there was one thing that I just wanted to ask about from the last week's meeting on Thursday. We had talked about having an action meeting for the guiding principles this week. I don't know if we still wanted to have this like tomorrow or if next week.
No, I think we should. You know, the more I dived into it, I don't think there's much to it. I put a few of my thoughts in the discussion. Um, you know, really, most I think that we worked in the bridge group focuses on treasury, and since we don't have the treasury, um, it really isn't too complicated. But I do think it would be good to have something in writing that the moderators and the admins can say, you know, hey, this post is rejected because it doesn't meet, you know, guiding principle 2, which, you know, um, yeah, I would say either Thursday or Friday, to do that if people are open to it.
Sounds good. Could we also do you have something written already? Maybe we can start by posting it in the chat and
I
yeah.
You know, we got so many channels.
I know.
But let me look at which channel I posted it
Ah,
in.
you posted it already.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
let me see which channel. Shimmer Governance Framework, I think. So I did it. If you go into Shimmer Governance Framework and then go scroll up, um, it's 1 through 7.
Mhm.
And really, it's just, is this proposal relevant to the IOTA SMRA assembly? Uh, is it relevant to those ecosystems? Does the proposal support the ecosystem in a positive way? Has a proposal been submitted within the past 14 days? That's what we had discussed for the cooldown period. But if we change that to season, just change that, hey, you know,
Mhm.
this was proposes, and maybe add that verbiage there, you know, has a proposal with the same intent been submitted in the last X blah blah, and then political, charity, and religious. Um,
Yeah.
like, and I don't know if that's something we want. I don't see what proposal would be unless someone said, hey, you know, I only want this particular religion to be able to vote. Like, of course, we would say no because it segregates, right?
Yeah.
Or and maybe that can be combined. I put like, does this proposal support the community as a whole and not segregate individuals based on media platforms, age, sex, race, religion, and or any other affiliations?
Yeah, cool.
But if anyone has any other ideas of sort of a guiding principle that can take judgment, keep, I don't want to say take, but keep
Mhm.
judgment from the moderators and admins, that the community is basically saying, hey, these are the proposals we want to vote on. These are the proposals we don't really want to be passed, considered essentially spam, such as illegal activities or anything that's going to bring detriment to the ecosystem and the DApp integrations, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Um,
Can we?
you know what? In there, you would put um, anything that deals with protocol code based, should be submitted to IF management through this, and
Yeah.
you know, not for this forum. So
Yeah.
it's kind of something
Can
like that. So that's a
can
good one
we
to add.
can we can we just start putting this into a Word document or something? Where we can then
Yeah,
either we can make it as an attachment to the framework, like an appendix, or we can
yeah.
put it
Let's do that.
we can put it as a point under the into the framework when we have finalized. But I think it's always good to have a doc on that, and we can just work on the
Yeah,
doc with some comments and things. Yeah.
let's do it as an appendix. It's
Yeah.
all in one.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe not, and then the protocol, and probably we'll leave out, this governance framework is not for any treasury, should there
Related
be a Shimmer
things.
treasury decisions, you know.
Yeah.
um, cool.
Cool. Um, I'm just going through the open questions doc. One thing I think that we can basically answer pretty quickly, I don't remember, I think we even talked about this, or we chatted about this, was my question basically, um, how do we handle, so basically, do we require that always the same person or the same, let's say, account has to take care of a proposal of an idea. So let's say there was like 6 weeks discussion about one thing, somebody posted something, and then many people, and then basically, do we require that the same person that started the discussion also then puts this for a post in phase two, and also then, if this is successful, moves this into phase three. So basically, is stewarding the proposal through the whole life circle. And how do we handle if somebody says, okay, I don't like the idea anymore, it's too hustle, I have no interest to continue this whole thing, but somebody else wants to pick it up.
I think as a set precedence, we should say the person has to move it on. And if they give up, then they should at least post in the discussion in the governance forum, guys, I'm moving and I'm going to lose internet.
Yeah, I'm
And it
out.
goes out, you
Yeah.
know, and someone else pick it up. I can see the efficiency in people supporting each other. However, I think that could easily lead to simply someone by mistake mistyping
Mhm.
the intent, and then there being some discontention on that. And
Yeah,
if we
or
keep it
yeah,
person follows it through, then there's no
yes.
uh, there's no confusion. It's
Yeah.
we'll
And
never even have to deal
yeah,
with that.
you could even there could even be some situations that people try to hijack a thing, yeah? So somebody
Yeah,
started something and there's a good discussion, and then
yeah,
certainly just somebody comes and says, "Hey, here this is a phase two proposal. Here there was this discussion. I want this now to be voted in phase two." While the original
yep,
proposer is not yet happy with this whole thing and is basically yeah, and this is also, I think it really makes sense that somebody that starts a discussion has to follow through it from until the end. And if somebody
hmm,
else wants to pick up on a discussion that has maybe died out or something, then it always has to start again with a new phase one
yeah.
approach, yeah, from the beginning. Yeah.
And I think again the moderators and the admins are essentially the community liaisons also. So if that person says I'm out, I'm done with this,
Yeah.
and we see that the community wants this, even the moderator can take that and put it to
Even this,
phase one
yeah,
and say, you know, Kim Jong went back to North Korea and they took away his internet privileges,
yeah,
and say, but looks like you guys want to pass this.
yes.
Let's start it over again.
Close the old discussion and start it as a new one, and then just somebody has to pick it up. But then again, from the beginning, you can't basically uh, take over a topic and put it directly as a phase two thing. You have to go back to the start, get people together again. This can happen very quick. You get 50 likes, and then yeah, but basically, I think that's good. Anybody has something against this, or can we? I think this is something quite logically that we can basically keep put under solved. Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, it just makes sense. Um, this is also something, the unique identifier we basically discussed and kind of solved it. We say we keep the identifier only for phase two, and in phase one, people, if they want to edit, well, if they want to edit stuff, they have to make a new post and mark it as version two or something of the original proposal. Yeah. Then sessions we have talked about, but this is something we definitely have to talk about it again. I'll put this in the framework as a text, and then we can see how it sounds. The proposal template structure. I don't know if somebody has looked into it. It's in the document. It's linked in the framework. Um, yeah, have a look on it if we would require some changes there or not. Then we had the question if we should organize debates on the proposals with a moderator. And I think DeepSea, you already make the comment here. You would suggest that we want to keep the framework more proposals a bit focused, and basically don't involve these things as discussions.
I like to say the KISS, keep it simple.
Mm.
The last words, keep it simple, stupid. From the
Yeah.
military, like simpler, the best, better. And I think we don't want to get too complicated,
Yeah.
and then maybe moderators, someone says, oh, well, they're choosing that, or they're playing favorites, where
Yes. Yes.
if it's all on the proposer, it's all on the community, kind of,
Mm. And
again,
I mean,
takes that judgment
yeah,
thing.
we're always gonna have this weekly governance meeting. So if people want to talk
Mhm.
about this thing, and also if somebody they have questions on a proposer, we can always then say, hey, okay, let's talk about it next Thursday. Maybe there are some open questions, something to clarify. But yeah, this shouldn't be something that is like a fixed scheduled thing for the admins or the moderators to do. Yeah.
And it doesn't negate anyone from doing it themselves.
Yes.
They can schedule
Yeah.
hey guys, let's go to general voice and let's debate this because I want to try to get the best proposal to go to phase
Up.
2. It's just
Yeah.
not really on the
Absolutely.
moderator to do
But
that.
it shouldn't be something enforced for the moderators or also for the proposers. If they don't want to go into a public discussion um, in a live session, you can't force them, or you don't need to force them. Yeah. Okay. This is also we did this the text for the phase 3. Basically, I think, yeah, proposal template. We have this question basically who or what encompasses the community, and I think basically also we have agreed on that this framework currently only is about the Shimmer community, basically Shimmer token holders, and not automatically includes assembly or IOTA things. Maybe we can put this solved for now. And the cooldown period, this is something we have to write out a bit better. And I think then basically we are pretty close to have talked and nearly solved most of the open questions. Um, some things still we need to write down and then work through and define them. But I think we made a lot of progress already. Feels like we're getting into a good state of this whole thing, and we are now basically have to nail out some details. I mean, now with the seasons, let's see how this sounds in text, and also with the emergency proposal thing. But I think that's pretty well made already here, huh?
Yeah, I
It's
would
really good, you guys.
say, yeah, I would say Thursday we go over the guiding principles and cover all this
Yeah,
one more summary to finalize everything, and then I know Werner volunteered and I volunteered, and anyone else to maybe start just trying to write up and articulate this. I think I know you're cleaning up that document, so maybe
yeah,
as many people as possible can do a final read,
yeah,
and then we're
yeah.
getting close to the end, and
I'm
you'll get
already,
engineering and
yeah,
board and all that, and
thinking about to can also think about already to start to write something like a little guide
mhm.
thing. Yeah, because this also will take a bit of time to make a good introduction post and a little really like a governance guide. Okay, as a voter, or if I want to take part in the discussion, what do I need to do? Or if I want to propose an idea, how do I do this? Yeah, so this definitely we need to make a good. But I can do that basically step by step with screenshots and stuff. Also, ASA has done for the Spanish community, they have done a really great little graphic for what is happening in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 with a little bit of timeline. Looks really good. Maybe we're gonna after they have showed it to the Spanish community, we can share it because we could also even then this looks really good to have like it's a bit like a flyer, like a like a flyer page, like a one pager for every phase where you see the highlights. Basically a summary of the little table that we have here on the top, but done quite well graphically. This also looks great. Yeah, and so maybe Asa and Mariana can share this in the channel once they have finished it, because that looks really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Good. What else? Any questions from the audience so far? I mean, we are already again 1 hour 30. But are there any topics people wanna bring up or have questions about it?
Just looks really good, you guys. Great progress. I think it's really come a long way.
Yes. And
Awesome.
also, I mean, still, I think we are still also happy if anybody wants to become a moderator in this process. Yeah, we are still open for taking more people in. Basically, we have one more, but he's still in holiday that wants to become a moderator. But if somebody says, "Hey, that sounds really cool," I wanna join basically the pack here. Feel free to propose yourself, and there are no hard requirements or something like this. Just don't be a jerk. Yeah, that's um, yeah. Then anyway, I would say this was very productive again. See you all again on next Thursday. If we want to do an action meeting or something, we can clarify in the chat anytime. Otherwise, next Tuesday, 4 p.m. CEST here back in the channel. And if until then, I wish everybody a nice weekend and yeah, see you in Discord.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Thanks, everyone. Great.